Some of us will recognize this famous landmark of France, the Eiffel Tower. It stands in the midst of Paris, the capital and largest city of France. From the top of the tower, we can see almost all Paris lying beneath us. And beyond the city lies the land of France, a land of variety and beauty. Fields of deep, rich soil produce many different kinds of crops. A vast system of rivers and canals provides water transportation in almost every part of France. Rugged mountain ranges form natural barriers between France and some of its neighboring countries. Hundreds of miles of seacoast make fishing and overseas commerce possible. France faces the sea on three sides: on the English Channel, on the Atlantic Ocean, and on the Mediterranean Sea. Two sides of France are mountainous. On the south, the Pyrenees separate France from Spain. On the east, the great mountain system of the Alps helps divide it from Switzerland, Italy, and Germany. On the northeast, the Low Countries border France. These natural boundaries give France a six-sided shape, a hexagon. France is not a large country. The state of Texas, for instance, is larger. France is located in the middle latitudes, about the same as the Great Lakes region of the United States. France's pleasant climate has helped it to become one of the leading agricultural countries of Europe. The best farmland is in the valleys around Paris, the Paris Basin in northern France. In the Paris Basin, much of the soil is fertile. Truck farmers, such as Paul Latour and his wife, produce a variety of crops, including potatoes, sugar beets, and various kinds of vegetables. On some farms, oxen are still used for work animals, although horses are more common. The use of machinery is increasing, but horsepower is still used on most farms. The most important farm crop is wheat. It is grown in the Paris Basin and in northwestern France, where we find scenes that resemble those we might see in our own Middle West. France is one of the leading wheat-producing countries of Europe. From the wheat farms of northern France, the grain is shipped to other parts of the country to feed France's more than 40 million people. And so wheat is an important part of the geography of northern France. In southern France, it's quite a different story. Along the southern coast, in the region called the Riviera, the climate is much like that of southern California. This is the sunny France of the south, an almost tropical land where oranges, lemons, dates, and olives grow. Oranges grow in all the lands that border the Mediterranean. From this part of France, ripe oranges are sent to other parts of the country. From the Riviera, too, are sent many kinds of tropical and subtropical flowers. In some of these gardens, flowers are grown commercially for markets in Paris and London. The same climate which produces subtropical plants also makes the Riviera one of the most famous health resorts in the world. Visitors from many countries come to enjoy the beautiful beaches and warm climate of the Riviera in southeastern France. In southwestern France, the climate and soil are ideal for raising grapes. Vineyards are a common sight in southwestern France. Here, many farmers grow nothing but grapes. Jean Sandré and his wife are typical of the men and women who make a living from the vineyards. Some grapes are shipped fresh, some dried into raisins, and some made into wine. Wines from vineyards such as these are an important product of France. The famous Bordeaux wines are named after this port in southwestern France. From this vineyard, we can see Bordeaux, one of the important harbors and commercial cities of France. On the wharves of Bordeaux, we'll find dockhands handling products of southern France, as well as goods imported into France. Products being shipped include casks of wine from southern France, bales of cork from cork trees near the Spanish border, and crates of oranges from the Riviera. In another part of Bordeaux harbor are the fishing fleets. More than 100,000 people in France make their living as fishermen. The French are good sailors. From the many villages and ports along the coasts of France, generations of hardy fishermen such as these have gone out in their fleets to fish in the English Channel, or the Atlantic, or the Mediterranean. And yet, although France has hundreds of miles of coastline, it has few large harbors. Bordeaux is one. The harbor of Marseille is another. In the north, Le Havre is the largest port. The city of Le Havre, which in French means the harbor, is at the mouth of the Seine River. The Seine is France's largest and most important river. It is the great water highway of northern France. Barges carry goods back and forth from Le Havre to Paris and other cities on the Seine. If we were to go along on this barge to Paris, we'd see what this bargeman André Leclerc sees each time he makes the trip on his boat. Not far from Le Havre and the seacoast, we'd find the cool, moist grasslands of Normandy. Fine dairy cattle are raised in this province of northwestern France. On both sides of the Seine are dozens of little farm villages, as well as historic landmarks such as this chateau built by Richard the Lion-Hearted. Farther up the river is the beautiful city of Rouen, with its historic cathedral. And finally, the barge reaches Paris, the capital city, the center of commerce. At the Paris docks, barges deliver tons of goods and foodstuffs to supply the needs of about 3 million people in the city. In the marketplaces of Paris are products from all France. Vegetables from the truck farms of the Paris Basin, lemons from the Riviera, grapes from the region near Bordeaux, wheat from northern France, and fish from the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. Some Paris shops are beautiful china and fine glassware, two products for which France is famous. Fashionable clothes, designed and made in Paris, are another world-famous product of France. Paris is a manufacturing city, too. These automobiles are among the heavier industrial products made in the city. But most of France's heavy industry is located in the northeast, where there is coal and iron. Nancy is one of the big industrial centers of this region. Among the industries of the city of Nancy are the manufacture of machinery, automobiles, and farm implements. Here is a scene we might see in some of our own big industrial cities. And here are some industrial workers who represent another part of French life. Let's meet one of the typical workers in this steel mill. His name is Henri Beauchamp. After a busy day at the mill, Henri leaves with his fellow workers. Henri rides a bus, as many workers in our big industrial cities do. The bus takes him to an outlying residential section of the town. This is where Henri and his family live. And this is the way he often spends his evenings, at home with his family, reading the latest Paris newspaper. He enjoys news about other places and other people in France, places and people that we've seen in some of the various cities and regions of the country. The truck farmers of the Paris Basin, the wheat merchant of northern France, the gardener of the subtropical Riviera, the grape farmers of southwestern France, the fishermen of Bordeaux, and the bargemen on the River Seine. These people represent part of the living geography of modern France.